everyone, this is Rachel and I'm here with another process video. I am once again working with my Scraptastic kit from March, the Drops of Jupiter kit, and I will be using this cut file that came with that kit. It is a free cut file for those who are Scraptastic members, and what I'm going to do is I am going to back all of those little triangles with pieces of pattern paper because I'm crazy. It was a process, I will tell you that. I am using Stars and Stripes from Amy Tangerine, Free Time as an exclusive from Caitlin Schaefer, and Soap in Water also from Amy Tangerine. I do end up adding some other papers in because I just want to bring in little pops of other colors. So they're scraps though from other lines, so I don't necessarily remember what their names are. Oh, I'm trying to tempt Xanthi to stay away from my layout. You'll see later on that doesn't exactly work. Okay, so I get out my trimmer because I'm going to trim down my photos. I'm going to create a photo block collage type style thing, so I end up having to trim my photos down quite a bit. I start off with them this size, but what I have, I want to mount them on a piece of pattern paper, actually an exclusive piece of paper from the Scraptastic kit that is actually almost the exact same pattern as the cut file, but what I have left of that isn't going to fit my photos, so I end up trimming them down even further because it's basically just the background space. I'm not cutting out anything important. So once I get that trimmed down to the size I want, I'm going to go ahead and, oh, yes, of course, before I do anything, I need to remove the branding strip because I forgot to do that earlier. Hello! Okay, so once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get my photos down on the paper. Now, this was important for me because this is going to be a lengthy process. I didn't want to have to cover any more of those triangles in the background cut file. Excuse me very much. I didn't want to have to cover any more than I needed to, so I wanted to make sure that my photo block was the proper size, so I wasn't trying to fill in more triangles than I absolutely had to. If that makes, I think that makes sense. Okay, so I consider using these branding strips, but I'm not going to end up using them in the end. I will end up using them actually, several of them in my next layout, so I was happy to be able to use those. Alright, so I'm starting to cut out the triangles, and I'm just cutting out loose triangles just to see how things are going to start to look, and just to give myself an idea of whether or not I like it with all the different colors as opposed to just like taking that cut file and plopping it on top of a piece of pattern paper, which would of course been much easier. So I just mark with a marker where I want my photo to go. And now I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. And so once I cut away from this, ta-da! By the magic of editing, you'll see I'm just using pieces of washi tape that to glue down, to tap down the paper. I will then add glue afterwards. So I'm almost finished here. I'm just adding the last couple of triangles to my paper. And you'll see I ended up adding that basic gray typeset diagonal stripe paper along with the Chamel paper, which actually I remember is called Curiosity. It's got that navy blue with the star constellation piece on the other side. So I think that looks really, really cute, and I'm very happy with it, except that one last triangle that didn't want to be correct, so I ended up having to cut a new piece for it. Now, you'll notice there are circles, and the one thing I was not happy about with this cut file was that it ended up with 3 circles in a row, and it was my own fault for not noticing it before I started placing the papers there, because I think I probably could have fixed it so it didn't end up that way. I do find a fix with it because I had an idea of what I wanted to do with those circles. I just didn't realize they would end up in a row. When it was all white, it just didn't, I wasn't sure. So I had originally thought my photo was going to go in the lower right-hand side, but I decided upper left-hand side worked better for me. And I'm very carefully gluing all these down because they are only taped down with washi tape, as you saw with that one. It did come up, so I didn't want to yank all my photos up. So once I get enough glue down, because apparently, if you watch my videos, you know I use a lot of ATG tape. I use a lot of glue. It's just, you know, one of the many things to love about me. So once I get that down, I'm going to go ahead and place my photo down as well. So cute. I really love the way this looks. It turned out really, really nice. And now I'm just poking through all of my pieces from my kit, and I pull out these are exclusive die cuts that came with the Scraptastic kit, and I'm going to use that as my title. And I also pull out some of the other exclusive die cuts that came along with that flare badge that came with the kit. Now, what I do is I take one of the circular die cuts that came with the kit, and I use it to cover up where that blue cardstock would show through in that middle circular part. So I'm basically just using it to fill in a color. I only had one, that particular one has a circle and not a star, and it was the only one I had left because I used several of them on a previous layout. So I was more than happy just to use it as a filler. So in those other two circles, and then in the bottom left-hand corner, there's kind of a partial circle. I'm using brads from the My Mind's Eye cut and paste that is part of the counterfeit kit that I put together to go along with this kit. I used two orange ones and then a larger one that has a design on it. So I'm just using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive to glue down those die cuts and also to glue down the back piece for where my flare is going to go, and I also glue down my flare. And now I'm getting my title down. I did outline my title with navy ink from Heidi Swap, and I'm using my Uniball Signo white ink pen to do my journaling. And this was another one of our trips up to Yankee Candle store, up the big one in Deerfield, Massachusetts. We used to go there quite a bit. We don't go as much now because she's 15, so she's not super interested in going all the time. But we used to go a lot, and there used to be tons and tons of stuff to do besides just shopping. So that's what this was about, was that it's more than just a shopping area. It's got beautiful lawns, and there's tons of like crafts and activities for kids to do all the time. I add some white Dylusions ink, and now I'm just going to add a few stickers from this basic gray typeset sticker sheet. Okay, words are hard. Sorry, guys. A file date. I'm going to try to use one of my roller date stamps on, and I push far too hard for this slightly slick surface, so I end up having to pull it off and grab another file tab, and then I'm very careful stamping down the word happy. Stamping the phrase happy place on this new file tab. I play around with using this vellum arrow, but no, I'm pretty done. Now, while I'm cleaning up some papers, Miss Anthony decides to take a little stroll across my layout. So yeah, I'm not super happy with her at the moment, but we're all set. I'm going to show you some close-ups, and I'm going to say thank you guys so much for joining me here. If you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. Have a great day, everyone. Bye!